Along with free agency, trades are always part of the deal, especially when cap space is an issue. And the San Jose Sharks and Carolina Hurricanes just made a deal. Gil Martin of Locked On NHL here, joined by JD Young of Locked On Sharks, Jared Ellis of Locked On Hurricanes. The Hurricanes acquiring defenseman Brent Burns from the Sharks. Some cap relief going to San Jose. JD, let's start with you. Are you happy with the way this deal went down and the benefits it brings to the San Jose Sharks?
Yeah, I mean, the Sharks had so much money tied up in their defensive core between Burns, between Vlasic, and then Erik Karlsson. Vlasic and Erik Karlsson, of course, have no movement clauses, so they can't be moved without attaching an asset or them approving. But Burns, you could actually get something back. And for the Sharks having now, a little over $5 million in cap space that they didn't have a couple of days ago, I think it's going to be a huge relief for them to try to assess other weaknesses on the roster right now.
And as far as what they got back besides the cap space, where, if at all, do those, do the players fit in?
I mean, the Sharks they've been trying to work on their goalie pipeline for a while. As far as Steven Lawrence, we'll kind of see where he fits in with the team at this point right now. But for them, the big win is just clearing some cap space and, freeing up that cap space to try to go do something else with as they try to transition from this old core to a newer core.
Jared, what do you think Brent Burns can add to the Hurricanes lineup this year at his age and at this stage in his career?
To be completely honest with you and blunt, I'm not sure what he can really add at this point. I know he, I believe, had 54 points last year on a not so great Shark team. So that's not bad. And you were talking a little bit, how he averaged some career highs and whatnot. At this stage in his career, that's really good. But he is 37 years old, and will he be able to replicate that this season? Because guys get up there in age, regardless of the sport, they tend to fall off quickly. So he'll likely be paired with Jacob Slavin on that top pair. So that'll help him out when it comes defensively. But this is one I'm not a huge fan of this trade. Me and JD were talking. I figured it'd probably be a second or third round pick. Prospect-wise, I wasn't really sure, but I was honestly thinking it'd be Martin Necas that we'd be giving up because he had a pretty mediocre season last year, to be completely honest. And I kind of figured he'd be on the move, and they had just extended Steven Lawrence, so I kind of figured he would be kept around. He's a really good bottom six piece. You're getting a great player and a great young player. He's a great guy on the ice and off the ice. So the Sharks got a winner with that one.
And you mentioned Slavin. What kind of chemistry do you think they would have? How do they complement each other in the lineup?
That's one I think we're going to have to wait and see to see how these guys play together. Because Slavin, everyone knows he's probably one of, if not the best defenseman in the league. He's not really an offensive guy. So he's going to need a guy with some offensive capability with him, and Brent Burns does bring that. So that's a good sign. But ever since letting Dougie Hamilton walk in free agency, has kind of been a bit of a revolving door there on that first pairing with Slavin. So we'll just kind of have to wait and see on a lot of this stuff.
And JD, as far as the power play goes, can you see Burns contributing on the power play in Carolina? What does he bring to the table?
Yeah, I mean, we know the Carolina Hurricanes like a lot of point shots, and Brent Burns led the league in point shots by players. So you think that's going to be a natural fit there with their style. And, going back to like the offense, I mean, Brent Burns still provides a lot of offense. His defense has always been not what he's known for. So, and, the past couple of years, it's been kind of a revolving door to try to find the perfect partner for him. So I think, with him having an actual defensive defenseman as a potential partner, we might see a nice little resurgence from Brent Burns where it'll allow him to kind of focus on the offense. He's not having to play the 27 minutes a night on a bad Sharks team, having to do too much. So, this might actually, and when it comes to Brent Burns himself, takes care of his body like nobody else. He hasn't missed a game in 10 plus years. I know he's just turned 37, but he is an absolute monster when it comes to taking care of his body, and he's going to be there all 82 games. He's going to play, 24, 25, 26 minutes a night for all 82 games. So, I think it might be a nice actually fit with Slavin, who can play the defensive role and let Brent Burns kind of do his offensive freelancing that he's known to do.
JD, why don't you tell our viewers and our listeners where they could find the podcast and where they could find you on social media?
You can find the podcast, of course, wherever you get podcasts at Locked On Sharks. And you can find me on Twitter at MyFryhole.
All right. And Jared, how about you?
You can find the show wherever you get your podcasts and on Twitter and Instagram at LO_Hurricanes. And myself on Twitter at JaredEllis_96. And I do think I speak for all of us. It's going to be weird seeing Brent Burns in a different jersey.
That first Sharks home opener against the Canes, October 14th.
Something to look forward to, and it will be strange not to see Brent Burns in teal. Gentlemen, thank you so much, and definitely be keeping up with things the rest of the day.